And welcome to NerdSteading, where we have a new set of problems. I'm almost done with the floor.
Oh yeah, about the floor.
Cardboard box, a lot easier to open when you leave it out in the rain for a week. Oh no, my flooring got wet.
This isn't really worth making an entire video out of, but I covered the pressure-treated plywood floor of the workshop with this Loctile garage flooring product. Cleans up pretty easily. I've even gotten spilled paint off of this thing already, so not bad.
New problem. All this crap. Yep, here's my beleaguered hand tool collection, which for over a year has been living in a series of weird dividers and toolboxes and semi-organized chaos in a barn stall where ponies should be living. I'm kinda over it, I gotta be honest. So I got these lovely bits of pegboard put up, and now it's time to sort all this crap, because as Adam Savage says, drawers are where tools go to die. And I don't want my tools to die because I forgot I own them. Probably have 14 of the same wrench somewhere. No one's gonna know when they're all covered in these boxes, which are covered in dust. So now it's time to get everything out of these boxes and have a wonderful little time-lapse montage of me sorting through all of this nonsense. Well, mine a lot of crap. Let's see what the sorting hat has brought us. All right, we got staple guns, tiny saws, air compressor tools, wrenches, sockets, pliers, both locking and non, needle nose, and I guess chubby nose? I don't know. I'm not going to size shame a set of pliers. Adjustable wrenches, bolt cutters, Allen wrenches, hello IKEA, screwdrivers, aplenty, tiny all the way up to the giant pry bar style flathead. So many hammers, several of which are very rusted and I might get rid of. Get ready, Goodwill. Flashlights, measurement tools such as squares, speed squares, and measuring tapes, stud finders, and chalk lines, rulers. In fact, one of my favorite rulers, which you will see in the intro of NerdSteading, a 13-inch ruler. Electrical testing tools, a pair of wire cutters that I recently bought from a South American River-themed merchandise outlet online. Probably never heard of them. These are great little strippers. I use them for installing the speaker wire. A thing that tells me how big my drill bits are. Hello. Mirrors the magnet tool that I use to actually retrieve some of the sockets from inside the drawer because content settled in flight. And quick grip clamps and other woodworky clampy things. I'm not going to do that. Not even for the YouTubes. All right. Now I got to come up with a system for grouping these and then figure out how much space they take up on the various boards of peg. I think I've got enough pegboard to cover this particular situation. Some of these things don't fit on walls really well. I don't know how I'm gonna pegboard hang this easily. It's a weird shape. But I think I got a general idea of how I want to do this. Measuring things go with measuring things. Hammers and chisels seem to fit together pretty well. Screwdrivers, of course. Utility knives, I guess I could wall hang them off of the little, run loops or something through the back. I might put those in some kind of, I don't know, table mount or case or something. So the socket set I've already got an organizer for, and I may just hang that off the wall next to other wrenches and adjustable like nut manipulating devices. I have a really cool set of plier racks that I bought. I've got one installed in the barn already and a second one, so I've got space to add more pliers. Those may wall hang together. That of course means I will put things like pliers next to similarly shaped objects like I don't know, adjustable wrenches. Bolt cutters will go up on the pegboard as well. And staple gun should be okay. I don't know what I'm going to do with the staple hammer, so I don't think I've got a good way to peg hang that. And the air tools have no business being on the pegboard. They're going to go with the air compressor, which is a totally different subject for a different video. All right, I think I got a clue how to do this. Let's see how it turns out. Well, would you look at that? Yep, the beard. That's what you noticed, right? Yeah, I shaved. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But now we can designate my life in Oregon by two different metrics: before beard and after beard, and the mark that I shaved, which is the 1st of spring, March 20th or 21st, depending on how you treat the equinox. But we can also treat it as the day that the shop went from a construction project to a pure organization project. Because according to Yamhill County, I'm done. I have a signed building permit. Everything has passed inspection, electrical, construction. Now keep in mind, a permit for a barn, shed, workshop type of deal isn't as complicated as the permitting for a house or some kind of dwelling structure or a business type of building. But the shop, now I just gotta organize the damn thing. So, I'll probably stay freshly shaven, chin exposed for a while. So now when you're watching the videos that inevitably I will edit and release, yeah, I know it's March and I have stuff I shot in May of last year that still isn't on the internet as of the time I'm talking into my camera. I'm working on it, trust me. I got some birthday presents to help me out with that, but that's a different subject. All right, so far, what have I got going in the shop? Well, you saw the pegboard, and oh, I love me some pegboard. I've got a color-coded, rough kind of organizational scheme has developed. I also put up some specialty racks. We already had the holder for all the different sockets. We've reunited 3 partial socket sets into one socket tree. I've also got these lovely plier racks that I put up. Magnetic bars that I already had, and this lovely little metal shelving system for the drills and battery charger. The cordless circular saw doesn't fit on here, I'll store it somewhere else, but all of the orange power tools going to get charged up here. We've got a workbench that's slated to go in this spot with the drill press. Last pegboard for the moment is over here. And then we've got these open spaces under the windows that I want to build workbenches using some reclaimed lumber. All right, so I got a lot of space to fill, but fortunately, we packed all the old workbenches that we had at the old place, and I'll have to upgrade them a little bit to turn them into proper work surfaces. remembered what I hate more about these stupid shelves than having to pound them together like a discount erector set from a dollar store. The shelving material is chipboard. Remember how much I don't like OSB? I hate that crap even more. That corner came off when I was trying to put the board back into what should be the rectangle that it came out of back in Georgia. Anyway, so I now have one less board to work with, and I'm kind of cranky, so I'm gonna come back and revisit this later and see if I can improve my assembly technique without taking corners off of the existing shelving material. Otherwise, I gotta go out and buy a lot of plywood and come up with another plan for rebuilding my shelves.
Several days later.
All right, if you use a miter saw, what ends up happening is you put the wood on this worked surface on top of it to put it level with the blade. Now that is not the same height as your work table, which means when you have long lumber, like the kind that we use commonly in a farm or barn situation, to build things like chicken coops and horse stalls and whatnot, it will hang off the edge. And sometimes I'm working with up to 16-foot lumber. Not because I'm building things that are 16 feet long, because I'm typically building things that are between 13 and 15 feet long, and I just have to chop money off the ends of the perfectly good 16-foot lumber that I bought because standard sizes. I don't want the rest of the countertop surface to be at the same height as the bottom of the saw. I want it to be the same height as the top of the saw. In other words, the top of that workspace. When I lay lumber down, it doesn't flex. Now, the people who make saws are smart, and they make this work surface pretty much in 1/4-inch increments from the bottom of the tool. So my trusty measuring tape tells me that this is 4 1/4 inches from the top of the table to the top of this work surface. Now, 2x4s are really not 2 inches by 4 inches, a little bit less than that. So if you take a 2x4, turn it on its side, put a perfectly thick piece of plywood on top of it, that turns out to be 4 1/4 inches. So here's the plan. I'm going to take these 3 pieces of roughly 2 foot by 4 foot plywood that I cut to go into the top shelves off. I'm going to frame them around in basically a kind of a W with one side open with 2x4 scraps that I have just literally lying around in my yard, and then put some sanded plywood on top of that so I have a nice smooth work surface that matches this height. Once I get that stuff established, I am going to mount this saw to the table so she don't move, because it's heavy and bendy and I don't want this thing flying around. As you can see, I have a work surface now. It is Richardson level. There's a little bit of a gap from the left side of the saw to the first board, the surface of the table. That's still level within the bubble, so not that big of a deal. I might actually decide to jack up that end of the saw, or just have that little bit of a gap at the end of that. That could be anything. Floor level, a 2x4 that isn't quite 2x4-ish enough. Who knows? The point is that within 3 hours, I was able to build this out of pretty much stuff I had lying around. The only money I spent was on the plywood itself, and that's just because I wanted a nice smooth table top, and I wanted to cheat a little bit and not have to sand it. I let somebody else do that for me. So thanks, Dad, for the gift card that bought 3 sheets of plywood and a couple of bottled drinks, because I didn't want to take the truck through a Dutch Brothers drive-thru. What have I got to fix in here? Dust collection is collecting most of the dust, not all of it. Some of it's getting underneath the workbench I just installed. I'll deal with that later. Anyway, for now, I've got a nice working surface that I can use to build the next weird barn project, which you'll see if you subscribe to this channel, like the video, do all the YouTube things, the clicking and the liking and the bell and all that nonsense. You're on here, you know that works. This is Brian saying keep it nerdy, and don't cut your fingers off with the saw, no matter how nice your tabletop is.